The gentleman is granted 5 minutes.
Madam Speaker, last Tuesday, north of the Mexican-American border, a number of our Border Patrol agents were trying to stop some bandits, Mexican bandits, who were stealing and killing people who were coming across the border illegally. One of the people that was involved in this and was shot was a fellow named Manuel Arenas, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, a.k.a. Manuel Arenas Osorio. He was convicted. He's a Mexican in the United States illegally. He was convicted in 2006 for aggravated assault. He'd been deported to Mexico twice, and he was in the United States with his colleagues committing more crimes. And a Border Patrol agent, Mr. Brian A. Terry, was shot to death on the border in that area last Tuesday night. Now, the reason I bring this up, and my good friend Mr. Poe of Texas, who will be talking about this and probably some other things related to it later, we wrote a letter. Mr. Poe, myself, and Ed Royce of California, Ralph Hall of Texas, and Pete Olson, all of us wrote a letter to the President of the United States, and this was in October, and we said, Mr. President, you know, we sent 17,000 National Guards people to the Gulf during the Gulf oil spill because it was a threat to the environment and to the people's livelihoods who live down in that area. And yet the Mexican-American border is 1,980 miles long, and when the President decided to help augment our Border Patrol agents, he sent, I think, 1,300 or 1,400 National Guardsmen down there, and only for a short period of time, and they were not right on the border. We have a war going on the Mexican-American border. Today, we talked about the spending bills. We talked about taxes. We talked about tax extenders. And all of those things are extremely important. But we have a war going on the Mexican-American border with drug dealers and thieves and terrorists coming in from Mexico. And now we understand that we're training down in Central America some of the local law enforcement and military with our military people to stop them from moving into places like Costa Rica. We're talking about the drug dealers. We have a major problem in our hemisphere that threatens the stability of the entire southern part of the United States, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. And as we know, the Arizona governor has tried to do everything she can to deal with the problem, and nothing's happening. In fact, the President of the United States and the Justice Department have been fighting her. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. We need to get on with doing what we promised to do, and that is build that border fence and put enough border agents down there and National Guardsmen to deal with the problem. And if necessary, to work with the President of Mexico to put military personnel on both sides of the border to stop these terrorists, drug dealers, and the people that are disrupting what's going on here in the United States. And you say, well, that's the border. That doesn't deal with us. There are signs in Arizona 80 miles north of the border, 80 miles into the United States that say to American citizens, don't go south of here because it's not safe. We've got ranchers and farmers that have been beaten up and killed in the United States by these drug dealers and these terrorists that are coming across the border. And so we wrote to the President on October the 26th, Mr. Poe and I and my other colleagues, and we followed up with another letter on November the 4th, and you know what we've heard from the President? Not a darn thing. Nothing. And it's been, what, a month and a half to 2 months. The President is ignoring this problem. And people are dying, and the security of the southern part of the United States, in fact, the entire United States, is at risk. So if I were talking tonight, and I know, Madam Speaker, I can't talk to the President because we're not allowed to talk to people outside the chamber. But if I were talking to the President, I'd say, Mr. President, answer our letters, pay attention to what's going on, and secure that border. Go talk to the President of Mexico and the others in Central and South America and make sure we stop these drug cartel terrorists from disrupting the United States and threatening the security of our border. This is a war, Mr. President. Get on with it. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
The chair will receive a message.